But you know what, something, Sharon? If I hadn't promised my mum, I would have given up. Because the self-limiting belief I had as an Asian woman is, I'm not good enough. The cookbook was the pivotal moment in my business, when my business turned from an Asian woman who cooks for a living and who's quite good to being an author. Once you become an author, it gives you kudos, it gives you that gravitas that you need to go forward.
Yeah.
And that got me on the radar of a few newspapers and things like that. So my business changed and that gave me confidence. But you know what, something, Sharon? If I hadn't promised my mum, I would have given up. Because the self-limiting belief I had as an Asian woman is, I'm not good enough.
And you know what? And I think a lot of people, I certainly felt like that. I always felt like I was in a box, and I always felt like I didn't know my self-worth. And with you, you know, you always have like a cheerleading team. You always have people on your side, and for you it was your mum. And that's actually really nice, because actually women of that generation, I think, were very opposite to that attitude. Whereas she was saying like she wanted her girl to go into the world and become something. And actually a lot of women from that generation probably have like different views on how they want their daughters to become.
And they were frightened. There was a real fear factor. So remember, Sean, we were speaking English, we were wearing English clothes, we were going out. So we had like almost like a dual life. But we'd come home and sort of trying to fit into the Asian lifestyle that we were sort of raised Asian at home, but then English out. But
I've always said that. I've always said I sometimes put on a character. It's like I'm getting into a role because to fit in, because I didn't know my place. So with Asian people, I used to kind of like maybe put a bit of twang. They say certain things very differently. But then with my you know, English friends, like suddenly I was this real Southeast Cockney like girl.
Yes. Yeah. But we all, Sharon, that's human nature to sort of change your personality depending who you're speaking to. If you're speaking to a corporate client, become more corporate. If you're speaking to a child, become more childlike. So that's normal. And when I'm teaching in particular, I have to assess so I teach corporate lessons and I'm doing all sorts, and I assess my learners. But for me now, suddenly, being Asian is working.
Yeah.
Being an Asian person, because my brand is an Asian woman who cooks Indian food and it's food from my heritage. But the business side of it was quite difficult. And then after, again, once the cookbook had been published, it was still struggling to go to the next level where I wanted to be working TV. Lucky for me, I had years of the shopping channel. And you know, like I said to you earlier, you can just press play and I just carry on talking because I'm trained to film.
I love that. You're a podcaster, you're a host's dream, I'm telling you.
My husband's just press pause, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. But when I got the TV show, suddenly everything again changed and my business took on a different meaning and a different level of another platform ITV gave me. It was huge. But one thing that was shocking was my clients in the real world are middle class, very well-to-do people who can afford a private chef. You know, when you're charging in excess of £100 a head, you need somebody who can afford somebody like you.
Yeah.
But my fans, when I went to Leicester, and it was the strangest thing being recognised everywhere in Leicester, and people kissing you, hugging you, talking to you, holding your hand. My fans are Asian women.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. So, like, this is what I mean about audience, like, because it's gone like a full circle.
Yeah, I've gone full circle.
Like, no one wanted to know, no one wanted to kind of, unless you wanted to take away, no one really wanted to know about Indian food, but I now really do, and I've got nowhere to go. So people are looking at people, and people are they're gonna buy your book and they're gonna watch you and they're gonna listen to you as well, because it takes them back. You know, they want that nostalgia. Actually, you know, where I rejected my childhood and rejected my culture, I'm now pleading for it to come back. You know,
coming back because you've got Maya now, and you need to know where you're going with this child. I've got 3 children, my children are adults, and they were raised on my food, so my children are cooking my food. But our food is so tasty, so flavoursome, that the rest of the UK loves it. I mean, the show aired in ITV. Then my show went to Norway, went to France, it went to Australia. And I got an email from Norway from an expat Asian girl. Oh, wow. And I can't say her name, but she says, my English name is Anita. I left India. I was adopted at the age of 6 weeks. Oh, wow. And she was like, I have to say, Parveen, I rejected my culture, my religion, my culture and my cuisine until I saw your show in Norway. I messaged her and I sent her a book. And she
Oh,
said, I've inspired her to go back to her heritage, and she's changed her name back to her Indian name.
that's amazing. What a
I
lovely
know, and I'm like,
story.
oh my God, all I'm doing is cooking, but people can see in me their aunties and mothers, their
Yeah.
sisters, they see a brown girl on TV. And I think for me, episode 3, I made a small sandwich, brilliant, and I made a mistake and they kept it in, keeping it real. But I showed atta, and I showed the atta bin on TV. So we, in our house, have a 25-kilogram bin,
Oh,
plastic bin, where I put my
yeah,
flour in.
yeah.
And every Asian household around the country has a bin to put their flour in.
My mum still has one, I think. She still
Everybody
has.
has one. So I think when that episode, I went to Amritsar, to Harminder Sahib. I think Asian women, whether they were Bengali, Pakistani, Gujarati, Hindu, Sikh, it didn't matter. I got a
No.
lot of emails from saying, Parveen, thank you for making our food look good on TV.
Oh, that's so amazing.
It
That's
was,
really
I was so
inspiring.
humbled. I was taken aback. I didn't expect that.
No, but also like when we were growing up, like because racism was rife, as you say, people could freely say it to you. There was no repercussions.
It was in the culture at that time, in the 70s and 80s. It
Yeah,
within.
yeah,
You may have it now, but it's now very underground.
and but also like I used to watch the TV. And people used to say the packy shop, and it was a normal saying. It wasn't something that was rude. It was actually normal. Surely there will be a packy shop open, like because they were always open. Because they were immigrants. They had nothing.
Because we were hardworking, and so
Yes,
now
absolutely.
from being ridiculed, things like you go on a bus. Well, you go on a bus, or you have a taxi, Uber
Yeah,
drivers, taxi drivers.
yeah,
Shops are run by agents, and we are looked upon as being hardworking people
yeah,
because we generally are hardworking people.
yeah,
As an Asian woman in business, it's been a real struggle.
yeah,
I will still go to a networking event, and I will be the only Asian woman there.
yeah. Even now in 2020, I still feel. I mean, that you can see on the media and you can see on TV and everything like that. That there's more brown people
Yes, definitely.
there is an increase, but there still could be a lot more. I mean, even in acting, like I feel like you see a film and there's still a token. There's still like a couple of people, and yeah, they've been put in, and I want that to go. I don't want people to see color. If you need a part, I think Meghan Markle said it recently, that she commended the producers on Suits because actually they weren't looking for a mixed race girl, they weren't looking for a white girl, they were looking for Rachel, they were looking for someone that could play that role.
I think we need to just play ourselves without the colour.
Yeah,
But when it comes to cooking, the smell of frying onions, ginger, and garlic,
yeah.
Kat comes in, she thinks, oh, there's curry being cooked, so she knows there's meat. So she associates the smell of frying onions with food.
Oh,
Now,
see,
I was saying to you earlier,
I associate that frying even. So I tell you, like onions is a massive, because obviously it's the kind of like foundation of curries, isn't it?
I would say 99% of the dishes, yeah.
So I even love frying onions and then in my baked beans.
Well, So did Nisha, a friend of mine, she was a MasterChef a finalist, Nisha Palmer.
Yes.
Nisha Palmer just got a video on IG on Instagram TV actually recently for baked beans, which is a real Punjabi thing to do.
Really Punjabi.
Brilliant.
And
So
putting pepper in and put a bit of masala in.
I'm going to interview you now. What's your favourite? So, if you were to cook, what stops you now? Now, what stops you cooking? Is it the smell? Is it the fact that you don't know the ingredient
No,
list?
I think it's confidence. I'm not going to lie. I think it's confidence. I think it's understanding what goes with what. Even with English food, I'm very confused. Unless it's in a cookbook, I don't know what goes with what. So it's so I can't do what our families or our mothers did in just putting it on a spoon, and like I need to know, do I need turmeric, and also some of the ingredients you still can't get in the supermarket, so I know I'll have to kind of like branch out a little bit, but I'm at that place now in my life where I'm ready for it. I'm totally ready to kind of like
I'm ready to teach you, Sharon. You can have some lessons, girl. You are going to have some lessons. I'm going to send you a spice box. Which has a recipe card step by step with the spices. Absolutely no thinking whatsoever. And if you get confused, then I have a YouTube channel, and I remember my agent at the time said, I mean, you've got a recipe for rice. It's 17 minutes long. I said, yes, it is. Which is why I said, because people don't know how to cook rice. It's a real tutorial. So I think the YouTube channel for me was where I could share my passion for cooking, and actually it teaches you. But it's when I designed the cookbook that took me a long time. The hardest recipe in the whole book was dal.
Oh, wow.
One of those is how much water you put in, how much you boil it. So I had to recipe test my own recipes.
Yeah.
So, but the cookbook is definitely, I'm really proud. It's like my fourth child. I'm really proud of it. And because there's so much of my mum in it, I should have just got a cookbook actually and shown you. But there's recipes. So the bit where one of the end pictures, I'm wearing a shawl and it's my mother's shawl.
Oh.
I took a help by style on my mum's shawls. The mint and the mint tip is the mint she planted in the garden for the last thing before she died. There's so much of the book of my mum in the cookbook. But at the end of the day, it has real step-by-step recipes. And the best thing is, they work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's hands down, forget all the frivolous things around it and the media. And at the end of the day, you have a recipe that you're going to cook thinking, oh my God, that was so easy.
Yeah.
And that's my mission, because there's a whole gap in the market where we've got women my age cook. We have younger people who know what an Uber Eats is. They know what an app is. They can make a pasta, a bit like yourself, but they can't make food from their heritage. And so there's a gap where people are unfamiliar with their recipes from their heritage.
Yeah.
That's because they're not written down effectively. I think what I've done is, I think this should be in every single manual for every single girl who wants to cook, because the recipes are easy.
Right.
But that was on purpose.
So I would like to know something though. What have been your struggles with food? I mean, like when you talk about food, you talk about a love of it, a passion for it, and I feel like it's just smoothly just coming. But actually, have you ever had any struggle with food?
No. Do you know what? Growing up, I didn't. I said to my mum, I don't want to be an Asian housewife. I don't want to get married. I don't want to cook. In fact, I rebelled.
Yeah.
From 15 to 18, I didn't want to be what my mother was. I thought it was too stereotypical.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be what other people wanted me to be. I didn't want to get married to an Asian man. I didn't want to stay at home. I didn't want to cook. So everything she wanted me to be, I rebelled against. But then at the age of 18, my mum said it's time to learn to cook. Again, I rejected it. I said, no, I don't want to learn to cook. And I thought, why am I cooking? Just because I'm the girl in the family. Yeah. My sister got married, and so my mum did teach me to cook, and it was appalling. I mean, some disasters. So in the cookbook, I write about, I might just go get a copy in a moment. In the cookbook, I write about okra.
Oh, right. See, I love okra. I do.
Yeah, the very
Ladies'
first time
fingers.
I learned to use, I'm going to ring my husband, ask him to bring me a cookbook upstairs. How decadent is this? Can you bring me a cookbook to my room, darling? And I learned to cook okra, and my mum said, every time you cook vegetables, you must soak them. So I soaked the okra. Of course, the okra gets wet, it goes all soggy. Should never get okra wet. It's like a gremlin. Never feed it water, never give it water. And it went slimy. So my mum said, oh my goodness, what have you done? I said, Mum, I soaked it like you said. She went, oh my God, this whole thing. And she went, you don't soak okra. And in the cookbook, I wrote the recipe and I wrote the story of being a very underconfident, gangly teenager with a monobrow. Every time I cook okra, I think of my mum and I smile. And during my last 2 times she came to it, Parveen, I really fancy okra. Do you should we make it? And I said, Mum, yeah, I'll make you okra. She went, remember, don't forget to soak it.
Oh my God, that's
I said, Mum, you can't say that. I'm 50 years old. She said, yes, I can. And I realised that as my mother, she could say that. I'll ring my husband and we'll get a cookbook and show you the recipe.
Oh, I love this.
Now this is real podcasting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the recipes and the stories are real. I kept them real because when I can tell them to people, I realise that I don't have to sort of remember the story because the story's real. You're not answering.
He's not answering. Oh my goodness.
This is not on, is it really?
So you've got your cookbook.
I went downstairs and got my cookbook. She looks ever so happy. Do you know, for some reason I call her she, because she's Parveen the Spice Queen.
And so why is that like what we were saying about putting on a character?
I think possibly, you know, things like, look at that mango lassi. But the thing is, I styled every single recipe photograph in this cookbook.
That is lovely.
And so it's got so much of me in the book. And so much things like the Bombay potato cakes. We had to wait for the drizzle to get that picture.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful.
And there's certain things like, you know, we Asians, we grew up with eating lots of rice. But the roti and the rice are really important. And so I did aloo de bratte and things like that. Look, I've got step-by-step aloo bratte.
Oh, aloo bratte.
So, and I talk about food that we both grew up in. So they said, oh, sorry, Parveen, are you Pakistani? I said, Pakistani, Bengali, Indian. we actually have the same heritage because
Yeah.
60 years ago we were the same country. So
Yeah.
actually, the way I make dal is the way my friend makes dal.
Yeah.
The way I make, so it's not a lot in it. I mean, India's a huge country.
Yeah.
So somebody said, well, you're not Pakistani, you're not Indian. I said, but my dad was actually born Indian because there was no Pakistan then.
Yeah.
And so I'm finding now the British Asians are the people that actually are my biggest fans, and they're very vocal about it. And I think it's them good because they can see an Asian role model on TV.
Yeah.
And yeah, I cook for a living, but I actually am a businesswoman as well, and I teach and I do talks and diversity and things like that. So very, very keen to represent Asian women in a positive light, and that's what I'm doing with my cooking.
That's it, and you definitely are, because I think that's amazing as well, of how many Asian women and men are out there that can't cook. Because I thought I was actually
So
the only one. I thought, like, there's part of me that thinks, like,
loads of me that can't cook.
seriously, because I don't know, and I think that's one of the reasons I've done this podcast, because I've been brought up thinking, and I'm not surrounded by, a lot of Asian people either, and I think, like, it just seems like everyone knows how to cook, everyone knows how to speak Punjabi, everyone knows about their culture.
No.
And I
I
thought,
get so many emails, Sharon, people who are struggling, and especially people that are in mixed marriages where they don't have access to their parents or they've been disowned by their parents, is very common.
yeah,
So people, but it's the food. They just miss a taste of home, and actually, when you taste it, it does feel like going home.
yeah, that's
For
it.
me, it's just part of my business. It's part of what I do, but I do it in a very professional way. And actually, since being on ITV, I realised that there is a gap out there.
Yeah.
So I'm just keen to share my message of cooking, but it's just done with lots of passion and love. But it's not easy, and it doesn't come easy to everybody. That's why I teach it.
Yeah, and I want to ask, what's the kind of like future for you? When in terms of cooking, will people, especially with the isolation now, will people think, actually, we need to like stop with the kind of takeaways, because they're on tap, aren't they? As you say, there's an app on them, and all you got to do is press, and it goes straight out into your account, and it's so easy, and it's there. I order Domino's, and they're so, they are very quick. What do you think the kind of future is in terms of cooking, and what are people going to be doing in the future?
I don't know, but I certainly don't eat takeaways. But if I do, I had a bet with my son once, and I made chicken wings and chips quicker than he went to takeaway and made them.
No.
But I understand that I'm passionate about cooking. I cook when I'm down. I cook to celebrate. I cook for my friends. I cook for my family. I cook to relax. I close the kitchen door, put my apron on, put my hair up, and I let the creative process of cooking take over. And that's my way of relaxing. But it's not everybody's way of relaxing. So for me, I think the takeaways are really, the food is, I think people are going to go back to fresh, because we're all being health conscious. People can't afford takeaways.
No.
So you can make burger and chips for a family for about £10. You can't get burger and chips for 6 people for £10. So hopefully people are going back to cooking. What I'm seeing on social media at the moment trending is spices, turmeric is trending, recipes, simple family recipes are trending. People are cooking now, people are baking at home. So we've gone a real step, we've gone 20 years back, we're all cooking at home now, because we are at home, we've got the time, we need to fill the time with something, because we're not used to being isolated at home in our kitchens, in our homes. But cooking is making a huge comeback. And so I'm going to ask you to share some of my videos online, people that want to learn to cook.
I definitely will, because I'll be one of them.
For me, in terms of, I think cooking is now, things have changed. We've had a whole pause and reset button on how we're thinking in terms of wasting food, in terms of takeaways, in terms of communication with the outside world. So staying in your own home is cooking, I think, is becoming a thing at the moment, and you get your children involved. You can do home economics with children. Average child these days doesn't know where chicken comes from.
No.
And I think, know what chicken is, an animal.
We've lost as well. We've actually lost. It can be quite fun, it's actually.
It is, yeah. It can be a family. There's a saying, Sharon, a family that cooks together stays together.
Yeah.
So we'll be in the kitchen and we will cook, and I'm teaching my eldest son to cook now. But for me, for the future, there's so much I want to do. I'm writing a cookbook with a doctor about body dysmorphia. There's too much emphasis on how we look.
That's
and girls
amazing.
are getting into anorexia at a very young age. Also, there's a whole gap in the market where when you're pregnant, you don't know what to eat. Can you eat spicy cheap food? Can you not eat spicy food? So this doctor and I are going to write a book together about Asian recipes of weaning while you're pregnant and while you're breastfeeding, because I didn't have any chilies while I was breastfeeding, which is common. And then I'm off to Nepal as soon as we can in September, because I'm working with a charity called the One Family. And I went to the Savoy for dinner. I got invited to go to Savoy for Diwali. And this entrepreneur bid, oh my goodness, he bid £9,000 for me to cook for him
Oh my
for one night.
God, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
I didn't get the money. The charity got the
No,
money.
but
I realised that I have something to give back. And when he said, "Would you like to get involved?" I am now involved. I'm having a Bollywood night as soon as I can, and I'm going to fly out to Nepal. I'm going to help girls that have been trafficked and abused, help them, teach them cooking, and I'm going to help them set up a cafe so they can sustain themselves. And we're hoping to do things like maybe film it for some sort of documentary, and then write a book with the girls in Nepal. So I
that's
suppose I'm
amazing.
giving back in a charity, and they will see me and they'll see, oh, she's a brown person. So I'll be a brown, I'm not going to be this middle class white person swooping in saving these brown girls' lives. I'm going to go in and I'm going to teach them how to cook and how to run a business. So that's what I can do.
That's really amazing.
That's one of my projects.
That's amazing. And I just wish you all the best for that. I think you are amazing. And I know your mum is very proud of you in what
Oh,
you're
thank
doing.
you, Sharon.
Oh,
Thank you, Sharon.
yes.
Thank you for having me on.
No,
It's been lovely
you,
this time of isolation.
you've been amazing. And you know what? You're just, you're everyone's dream, coming on the show and everything like that. And because you just, when you speak, you do speak from the heart. And I think you do touch people very much so. And I think people are in awe of you because your age, and you say about like you kind of started at 50, but actually you've
Yeah,
still got so much you've got to do,
I
and
know.
so much ahead of you. So I wish you all the best for that, and keep me posted, please.
I
I will
will.
be
Thank you.
following your recipes.